Gary Parrish. Welcome back. CBS Sports Eye on College Basketball Podcast, where we sometimes discuss camel fighting, dodo birds, and leaky black. Pat Kelsey's going to join me momentarily, and that's because this is episode 13 of our Summer Shootaround series, and we are, in this episode, turning our attention to the University of Louisville. He's the coach, as you surely know. Before I bring Pat in, a quick reset to set the stage for what we're going to do today. Louisville last season finished 24-11. It was second year for Pat on campus. 24-11 overall, 11-7 in the ACC. Finished sixth in the conference. Got a 6th seed in the NCAA tournament. Beat South Florida, round of 64. Then lost to Michigan State in the round of 32. Every rotation piece from that team is gone, other than Adrian Woolley. But the transfer portal class is regarded as the nation's best loaded group, highlighted by, among others, Floyd Badunga, Jackson Shellstad, and, of course, North Carolina transfer Seth Trimble. I've got Louisville ranked inside the top 10 right now, 8th in the top 25 and 1. What does Pat Kelsey think of that? Is he flattered, or does he find that disrespectful? I'm going to ask him in some form. We're going to do that in a minute, but first, let's get a word from our partners.
You think you understand how this business works, but you don't.
I now know why Mommy was so stressed.
What's the plan here?
Landman. New season now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
All right, look who it is. Hey, Pat Kelsey. It's Gary Parrish. How you been, man?
GP, how you doing, man? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Are you kidding me? You're doing me a favor here. It's not the other way around. I appreciate you being here.
You pull off the glasses way better than I do, man.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. You look good, man. When I look at you, I go, I wish I could look a little more like that.
I got a little more hair than you, but I'm just holding on for dear life, man. I got to go zero here soon.
Mine was about 5 or 6 years ago. This is a true story. I was sitting courtside at a basketball game, as you do sometimes, and the camera was going like this, back and forth, and I'm watching a replay of the game late at night, and I noticed myself with a big bald spot right here. I'd never seen it. You don't see the back of your head. I pulled my wife. I grabbed her. I said, "Oh, come here." I paused it. I said, "Is that me?" She's like, "Yes." I said, "Did you know about this?" She's like, "I didn't know how to say it. What am I supposed to do? You know, I don't want to break your heart." And I went to zero right then. I decided I'd rather have bald head than bald spot. I've been zero ever since.
I'm a bald spot guy, so I'm sticking with it. Holding on for dear life.
Well, hey, it's working for you. Whatever you're doing, it's working for you. And under this umbrella of conversation, before we get into how you might be headed to your first Final Four with this roster you've assembled heading into this season, I want to talk to you about a quote that Matt Norlander and I have had a lot of fun with on the podcast, but also one that I think represents sort of your outlook on life and also something that, if I'm being honest, has sort of reshaped the way I attempt to view the world. I'm not as good at it as you are, but I do try. Here's what I mean. You're the first year head coach at Louisville a few years ago. I believe you're on a 3-game losing streak at the time. It's a tough stretch. And you're asked about your emotions, sort of asked to take stock of things. And here's what you said. You said, quote, "I mean, we get a bunch of free sneakers. I wear sweatsuits to work. My kids are healthy. My wife's hot. I got a pretty good life." Again, Norlander and I have had a lot of fun with that quote, but it's so good because, like, right now I'm in sweats, right? I have free sneakers sometimes too, not as much as you, but sometimes. Humbly, I say this: my wife is also hot, and I do have healthy kids. If you can ever just sort of wrap your head around that and recognize most people can't even check those boxes, we're doing pretty good. So I have bad days and I get frustrated, but I mean this sincerely, and I wanted to start here. That quote initially made me laugh, but then made me think and has sort of helped me, I hope, be better in my day-to-day. I hope you'll take that as a compliment.
Oh, yeah, well, thank you. We have a saying in our program, never delay gratitude. That was something I learned from the late, great Skip Prosser, who I played for and coached under. And I just think living with that sense of appreciation and gratitude for what you have, because no matter what you're doing, you're under a lot of pressure to perform. You're under a lot of pressure to be great at what you do. The players in our locker room, obviously at a program like Louisville, where the standard is extremely high, and the ebb and flows of ups and downs and wins and losses and goods and bads that, happen in your life, if you do take stock of your blessings, helps you to stay present, helps you to stay, neutral when things are going good or bad. And we stress that, every single day. We have a formula in our program called E plus R equals O, and events plus response equals outcome. The events sometimes are things, most of the time, that you can't control, and either is the outcome, but what you can control is your daily response. We try to stay focused on what we're doing, on controlling what we can control. And I'm sure part of this interview is you're going to talk about the very high expectations of our program and of what this team can accomplish this year. And I would agree with you. This team could accomplish great things, but controlling what we can control is making the next thing the most important thing in our program, and being extremely process-oriented and not being outcome-oriented. And I think it all goes back to a lot of those things you say, starting with, I know how blessed I am to be the head coach at this world-class institution and storied basketball program. And I make sure our guys understand that as well. In this day and age, there's a lot of noise. They have these phones that, almost anybody can reach them and attempt to have an impact on their mindset and their approach. And we try to be blinders on, focusing on the next thing, being great at the next thing we do, and allowing results to take care of themselves. You made me get real philosophical here, and I apologize. I'm probably bored everybody that's listening to this interview, but I believe in it so much.
I appreciate it. And I mean that. I've tried to take aspects of it and apply it to my own life, because my neutral position is not to just be looking at the, I'm not half glass full guy all the time. It's not my nature, but just sort of thinking about that and then looking around has helped me. And so genuinely, it's a beautiful perspective to have, and I appreciate you sharing it. Let's
we say we get to.
There you go.
I get to go to work every day. I get to go to a speaking engagement here in about 34 minutes. I get to go to the grilling with the Greeks last night, man. What an event that was on Louisville's campus right before rush occurs. Some of the most passionate Louisville fans is our Greek community here on campus. And just getting to be with those young people. They gave me a microphone, and everybody makes fun of me for being so short. I'm short. That's my deal. And they wanted me to talk to this group. Nobody could see me, so I get up on a table and do what PK does and try to energize that group. Because when we walk into the Yum Center this year, GP, we have one of the best fan base, if not the best fan base. In fact, it is the best fan base in the country. But, man, that student body makes such a big difference. And I want to look over there and just see that sea of bodies over there with the villains, as we call them, rocking the Yum Center. I'm hoping this interview gets to them. Born people about philosophy. I want this to get to our Greeks and our students. We need them this year, man. We need them big time.
I have been in that building when it is rocking and rolling, and I expect it to look that way this season. You have brought that back, and I think this will be the pinnacle of it. Let's talk basketball for a few minutes. First question. This is what people want me to ask you. Do you have a recruiting budget? If so, what is it?
Absolutely, we do. Absolutely. Obviously, we have phenomenal support here. There's great alignment, and I think that is so darn important, from the president to the board to the AD to me to everybody in our organization. Don't believe everything you hear, because you know what? All the stuff you're talking about, none of it's true. None of it's true, and you controlling what you can control. I can't control what you talk about, what those people talk about, and people say things, and then all of a sudden people take that as truth. I'm blessed to be the coach here, and we have a lot of support. And this university in this city, they want to win.
One of the things points I've made over recent weeks after you secured a commitment from Seth Trimble is that Louisville is in an incredibly unique situation relative to the rest of the sport in this way. First off, it's one of the greatest basketball programs of all time. I grew up with Louisville. As you know, I'm in the Memphis area. I grew up on the Metro Conference. I was raised on the Metro. Louisville basketball was my enemy for much of my childhood, but I have an incredible level of respect for that program. So it just starts with that. It's an all-time great basketball program. Beyond that, Your in-state rival is Kentucky. Your in-conference rival is Duke. They both are spending incredible amounts of money. There is no scenario where if you're at Louisville, you can't attempt to keep up. And I think that's interesting. I don't know that any other program in the country has an in-state rival as enthusiastic about building a championship contender as you, plus a conference rival that does the exact same thing.
Our state is the most passionate state in the country for basketball. There's no question. It is more than just – everybody always says basketball is just a game. Like it is, and it is. Don't get me wrong, but it's different here, man. Like it is flows through the blood. It's in the DNA of the people that live in this state, just the passion. And that rivalry is extremely heated. Grilling at the Greeks last night, some kid comes up to me and, Coach, I'm a freshman here. I'm so excited to be here. I'm from Lexington. He goes, I've been a Louisville fan my whole life. And I'm like, man, like you're an enemy territory. He goes, Coach, I go, do you rock your stuff? He goes, absolutely. And I get crushed all day long. And I love it. That's crazy. I mean, if people come here and spend a week in this state and really dig in to how that dynamic here in this state, it's really unique. We're not supposed to like them. They're not supposed to like us. Mark and I are friends. He's a good guy. I'm not allowed to say that very often, but it is. And then in this town, it's so unique. I think, maybe Texas and Austin might be similar, but I think they have an MLS team now. Like there's not a college city like Louisville, a college city, a city this size that's big enough to have a major professional sports team. And it's Louisville athletics. It's Louisville basketball. It's Coach Brahm's first game on September 6th against Ole Miss, number 9 in the country. We're 24. It's Louisville football. I mean, they eat, sleep, and drink. It's the cornerstone. It's the epicenter. It's what makes this place tick. And I think that's one of the things that makes this place so special. You talk to people and they will tell you their life story and how it wraps around Louisville sports and Louisville basketball. The first game they went to, who they were with, what a special bond they built with their parents or their grandfather from going to Freedom Hall and seeing Denny Crum and Rick Pitino's teams. And it just means, I know this is the SEC slogan, so I probably shouldn't say this. It just means more here, man. It just does. I don't know if I'm gonna get sued or something. For
that's a trademark.
In this day and age, there's a good chance of that. So.
Yeah. Hey, that's a trademark thing. We'll bleep it if we have to, but I'm sure it's fine. Hey, I'm glad you brought up Mark because I like, and I don't know if I like this when I was 19, but I like it when I'm 49, that you guys don't have to pretend or actually hate each other. Like you're both good guys. I've known both of you for a long time. I understand your fan bases are intense and the jobs are, high pressured, but I like the idea that you guys, there seems to be, from a distance at least, a level of respect there between the two men running the two biggest basketball programs in that state.
Yeah, we're getting back into philosophy a little bit. Like, we went all into living with a sense of gratitude regardless of your circumstances, which is hard to do, man. It breaks human nature. But when you have that perspective, I think it's a healthier way to live. The other thing, this just doesn't relate to Mark per se, but it's really anybody. My other big life philosophy, and I got this from Skip Prosser as well, is we're all screwed up. We're all screwed up in our own way. Like you just said, Mark's a good guy. Hey, PK, you're a good guy. I'm screwed up.
There you go.
So is he. Hey, GP, so are you.
Yeah, right.
And when you have that perspective and people stop thinking like, they're passing judgment constantly. Mark's a competitor. I'm a competitor. We've had some heated moments, but like I respect the dude. I think he's a good guy. Coaching profession, man. Like we're all trying to tear each other's faces off is the term that I use all the time. We are like it is nasty, as cutthroat as dog eat dog. We're all trying to feed our families. We're all trying to win. We're all trying to win a national championship down the street and here. But man, we're in this together in this fraternity too. It's a crazy lifestyle now, especially with the changes and things. People lose their jobs when they don't win. Like it affects families and things. So there is this little honor among thieves, if you will, that we all have as coaches. But specifically as it relates to him, and Louisville fans are going to get mad at me for talking too much about this. He's a good family man. He's strong in his faith, very smart. we relate in a lot of ways. I mean, look, you might interview him. You go, I can't stand that dude. I get it. I have no idea. But, Joby Hall and Coach Crum had a really, really good relationship over the years and tried to tear each other's face off in recruiting and on the floor. I think it can be the same here too.
Yeah, I can't speak for all Louisville fans or perhaps any, but I hope that they can appreciate that. I prefer what you just described to the alternative. Let's get back to your team. You just added Seth Trimble, a guy who was, let's put it this way, the second best player on a top 10 team at the moment Caleb Wilson got hurt. And the only reason he was the second best player on that team is because the other dude might be the NBA Rookie of the Year next season. You add him late. It enhanced your roster. There's no denying that. I moved you into the top 10. But I am curious, what is the thought process behind that, specifically in this way? Adding somebody so late in the calendar that it is undeniably going to impact somebody else's role. I've talked to coaches about this. Some are like, hey, I'm trying to build the best team I can. That's all I care about. Others consider other things. How do you walk yourself through that?
Yeah, when you say you had us as this ranked team and this straight team, I hear you like Charlie Brown heard his teacher. Like,
yeah, I understand.
Controlling what I can control. I can't control what you rank them, what you rank us, what you rank all that stuff. That's for fan fodder and things. And I know that's really important, and our fans hang on all of it. But as it pertains to Seth Trimble, add him to any organization in any field, in any realm, in any industry, whether it's basketball, a law firm, a restaurant. I don't care. Yeah. That Trimble makes your organization better the moment he walks in. So you're asking specifically about that instance. That's a no-brainer because he has it. He has a twinkle in his eye. He has a bounce in his step. He's got a special aura about him, a special heart, special spirit where, that sense of gratitude and appreciation for things that we talked about early on. He just easily fits in. And you could see that from moment one when he stepped on campus with our guys and with him. He just has this special way about him. So that's a very, very, very easy way to add a player to the program. Bring somebody in of the caliber of character that he is.
So it's interesting because I've talked to other coaches, and once upon a time, not too long ago, you lived in this world. The recruitment of a prospect could last, years. You meet them. It's an official visit. It's an unofficial visit. You're in the house. You're at a high school game on a Tuesday night in February. And now, because of NIL, transfer waivers, rev share, you might end up recruiting somebody for a matter of weeks, if not days, before you actually sign them. And in this world, sign them for millions of dollars. How much has that, if at all, changed your approach to recruiting? Because you have built a national championship contender largely through the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard coaches refer to it as kind of speed dating.
Yeah.
The important thing for me is we still, even though the time is very, very, very condensed compared to the traditional recruitment that you're talking about, we really try not to skip steps on making sure the fit is there. Obviously, there has to be an initial connection and a spark, through the recruiting process, the Zoom calls you do, the telephone calls you do. You have to sell a lot in a short amount of time, not only what your culture is all about, but what your system's like, how that player fits into it, how we're going to help you reach your individual goals and improve your individual game and put you in a position you got to do all that stuff. But we try not to skip steps on background and due diligence and finding out all those intangibles that I just talked about that Seth Trimble possesses before we bring somebody in, because the fit is so important. When you skip those steps sometimes, or when you're hurried like we all are, you make mistakes sometimes, and you bring in you get people that don't truly fit. So that's important to us.
You look at your roster. You've brought in Jackson Shellstad from Oregon, Seth from North Carolina, Carter Knox from Arkansas. It is consistently experienced, productive players from programs that have won. Perhaps not last year, but at some point, all of these guys have been winners in their basketball careers. Explain to me how you go about assembling this roster and what you like most about what you have created.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of that due diligence. You know, where do they come from? Did they win where they were at? What type of coach? I mean, just those names right there at the bottom. Those guys, they played for Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Hall of Famers, you know, and I've said that the last couple of years, man. Like, you know, guys come in and you see that they were really, really well coached by Hall of Famers. So coming from winning programs, coming from coaches that are of that caliber, you know, that really helps. Yeah.
Let's talk about your schedule. So you open November 2nd against Chattanooga, and then on November 15th, you're coming to Memphis. And I want to pause there just because that's a big deal here for people who don't know. And if you're watching or listening to the Out on College Basketball podcast, I'm not sure how you couldn't, but I grew up, a Memphis fan. I'm a graduate of the University of Memphis. I still live, 20 minutes from campus. And anybody, I would say 40 and up, I mean, you could just say, hey, let's talk Memphis State, Louisville, and you could talk for 5 hours any day of the year. Do you have a sense for how much, if at all, that still matters to Louisville fans? Because we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big reason why we scheduled the series from the time I got here. And you hear from fans all the time. You go out in this town, I'm not like pumping my own tires and saying I'm famous or anything, but you go to a gas station to pump your gas, somebody's coming up to talk Louisville basketball, telling you their Louisville life story and thing. And I love it. I love that. That's something that I enjoy about what I get to do. But I heard a ton about that rivalry. I heard a ton about the Cincinnati rivalry. And we played them last year, and that series is being delayed, so we won't play it this year. But the Memphis one is one I heard all the time. And fans talk about the stories, the epic battles, whether it's up there in Memphis or it was down here at Freedom Hall. And you kind of felt that last year when we scheduled that game, all of the talk and the build-up going into the game. Fans were really, really excited about it. We had a great atmosphere at the game and kind of renewed that special rivalry. And I know you guys, the fan base up there, feels the same exact way.
Yeah, one of my real sort of pinch myself moments of my career is that I was invited to speak at a coaching clinic out in LA. This was a long time ago. But I found myself on a stage sitting behind a desk just like this. But it was me and Denny Crum. And I just couldn't wait to call my mom and dad and be like, I'm just sitting next to Denny Crum because this was a huge figure in my childhood. I want to be clear, we hated that guy because he was kicking our head in with Purvis Ellison and LaBradford Smith and all those guys. But it was just a cool moment for me. And so we are appreciative in Memphis of that series being re-energized. And if it could last forever, that'd be great for us. Beyond that, it's a homecoming game for Jonah Wexler, your director of player personnel. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I know Jonah's fired up, man. He eats, sleeps, and drinks Memphis sports in general. Obviously, his dad's an executive with the Memphis Grizzlies. So, he grew up leaving school, going home, getting a quick snack, and then heading to the arena and being a part of game day and watching NBA games all night. That's a pretty cool way to grow up. And you did talk about Coach Crum and what an institution he is here. I've gotten to know his widow, Susan, and she's been great to me in our program. Just the mystique and the history of this town. I've gotten to know Lonnie Ali, the widow of the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. Got to speak yesterday at the West End School, which is a beacon of light on the west end of Louisville. Just to be over there, and that's the old Virginia Avenue School where Muhammad Ali went to grade school and drove down the street on Grand Avenue and saw the street that he grew up on. It's an unbelievable city, man. Louisville's a special place.
It's an awesome place. I can remember the first time I stepped in Freedom Hall was a cool thing for me. And obviously I've been back to the Yum Center many times. It's a great, as you put it, basketball city. So you got Memphis on November 15th. You're in the players era. You open with Texas Tech. And there's a scenario where your next game could be against Rick Pitino and St. John's. What is the relationship like between you and Rick, and what would that mean?
Would that be
you?
Would
Yeah,
that be a big deal here in town?
oh
It
man.
wouldn't be that big a deal, would it? Not really.
It would be awesome. Do you have a sense for how Louisville fans would feel about that? How Louisville fans feel about Rick now?
Oh my gosh, he's on the Mount Rushmore, man.
There you go.
He's on the Mount Rushmore. He's one of, if not the greatest college basketball coach of all time. So since we might play him, I think my compliment should probably end there. But no, he's been great to me. Early on, my first year, when we were really rolling with that revival team, he reached out and was really good and gracious about his support. And he's one of the greatest, and he'll always be special to the city of Louisville.
I'm not in charge of the bracket out in Las Vegas, but if I were, I'd make sure we're doing that in the second round of games out there. We'll see. If so, it'll obviously be a big deal. So you're out in Las Vegas. You got a possible fourth game there if you reach, if you win out of your bracket. December 1st, SEC ACC Challenge. That's Texas at the Yum Center. 12-12, that's at Kentucky. January 23rd, I believe, you've got another neutral site against Baylor. Usually on these things, we, like me and my guest or me and Norlander, we predict the record that heading into your conference tournament. That seems weird for me to do with you sitting right here looking at me. So short of undefeated, let me ask you, what would success with this team look like to you this season?
Yeah, like you mentioned all those. What would success like? We all know what the standard and what the expectation is here. We've already talked about it. I got that. I've already told you about my philosophy of controlling what we control and being in the moment and making the next thing the most important thing that we do. And the results take care of themselves. You're talking about outcomes. We want to win every single game. Yes. And that's darn near the expectation here. But that's where we stay. The outcomes are going to take care of themselves. We got a very talented team. I have a brilliant coaching staff. And I love what we've done from the time they arrived in June throughout the summer and where we sit right now in mid to late August. And we're just going to continue to progress and get better every single day. And I like where we're going. And I feel good about how it'll end up.
Yeah, Pat, it looks like you're going to a good place with this roster you have assembled. Man, I appreciate your time. It's nice to see, like I talked about this a lot in recent years. That Louisville program was a big sports figure in my childhood. And, I watched it achieve the best of the best, and then I watched it dip to, where it dipped. To see you bring it back so quickly has been not just good for Louisville and not just good for the ACC, but I think good for college basketball. You're in charge of one of the biggest brands, and it should be one of the most significant programs, and you've made it that way again very quickly. So, on behalf of college basketball, it's fun to see. You're doing good work, man, and it sounds like the best is on the way.
GP, I really appreciate you having me on, man.
You're the best. I appreciate you being here. Let's call that a show. Shouts to Devin Downey, Chester, South Carolina. Terry Teagle's a legend. Huck Larnell Hormuz. If you're not subscribed to the Out in College Basketball Podcast, please go do that wherever you subscribe to pods, Apple, Spotify. There's more of us than there are of them. That should be reflected in the comments. Do that. We'll talk to you again real soon. Till then, take care.